So which mountain do you want to choose to attempt first? That's our question for today. Hi, I'm Jeff. Welcome to my channel, 14ers for Beginners, where an ordinary guy like me wants to help folks like you climb your first few 14ers. So I hope this information, like all the videos in this channel, are helpful. I hope they inspire you and help you to be successful in accomplishing this and getting to the top of your first few 14ers. If it's helpful, hit like, hit subscribe. If you have questions, ask those in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer those and to help you out. I simply just want to be a blessing to you as you seek to do this. So when we're asking ourselves which mountain to climb, there can be a lot of things influencing our thought. There can be, friends maybe who have climbed a particular mountain. There could be parts of the state we want to go visit that we're thinking, oh, what if I climbed one in that area? Maybe our egos are influencing us, if we want to admit it or not, on which one, and famous ones or not famous ones, those sort of things. Maybe we're being driven by some pictures or videos we see online and just the scenery and the beauty, certain features of different mountains. All these things are cool. They're all important. They all influence us for sure. But that doesn't mean that they should get the final vote. We need to make a wise decision here. We need to make sure that we're choosing a mountain that we should be on in terms of our skill and experience set, but also that we're going to be most likely to be successful on, and that we're going to have a good experience so we can do this again later. And let's face it, if you do this and you're successful and you catch the bug and you get excited about it, you're going to start checking off the list anyway. Those mountains aren't going anywhere. All right. And so let's make a wise choice here first, and let's really be careful in which mountain we choose. So here's some things that I'm thinking about if I'm making this decision on which one's going to be my first one. The first is I'm thinking about the region that the mountains are. There are certain mountains that they're a long ways away from me. And so odds are I'm not going to drive that much further to get to that mountain compared to another one. And so the part of the state that it's in, whether Colorado or otherwise, is going to be part of what's influencing my decision. The access, like how close is it to a town where I can stay, a hotel, somewhere where I want to visit, where maybe I have other activities plans. Those are going to influence my decision. I'm going to go back to our video we talked about on planning resources, and I'm going to think about the length of the hikes. I'm going to think about the elevation gains. I'm going to look at the difficulty scale. And I wouldn't recommend you choose anything class 3 or higher. You want to be in class 1 or 2 mountains and trails. And so, based on those things, I would be eliminating mountains very quickly there. And so now I'm narrowing down to a smaller list, and I'm saying, okay, do I want to go up 4,000 feet? Do I want to go up 3,000 feet? Do I want a 6-mile round trip? Do I want an 8-mile round trip? Those sort of questions are questions I would be asking. I'd be being honest with myself. Do I want a short, really steep one, or do I want a longer, little more flat one? I'd be looking at, again, some of those class things in terms of the difficulties and things like exposure, rock fall, person fall, those sort of things. I'm going to be asking myself those questions. Do I want to be hanging off a cliff or not? Some of those questions matter differently to different ones of us, but I'm going to make a wise choice on one that fits me well. My general recommendation is that if you go to any of the different resources and maybe they list them out by difficulty. I've seen these posted online in various places and different books, planning books. I'm going to coach you to stay in that bottom dozen. Okay, the mountains specifically that I'm going to kind of direct you towards are mountains such as the DeCalibron group, which is Democrat, Cameron, Lincoln, and Bross. You're going to want to check on those ahead of time because Bross is privately owned, and sometimes they shut down Bross, sometimes they shut down the whole group. But that group of 4 is a fun group, pretty easy access, easy to accomplish in a day. You can check 4 off the list pretty fast that way. If those are open, or at least 2 or 3 or 1 of the group, that's up to you, but that's a good group to start with. A mountain like Handy's, Mount Sherman. Grays and Tories are two that are together that you can do one or the other of, or both together, and they're pretty accessible. Same with Bierstadt and Evans. They're right next to each other. To do both in combo is a lot harder. I would not recommend that for your first one, but to do one or the other as your first one is certainly one that I would recommend. Quandary Peak. It'll actually sneak up on you. It's a lot more steep and difficult than they say it is, but that's another good one that you could consider. Elbert. It's the tallest peak in the lower 48, but it's pretty accessible and not bad to get to. San Luis Peak, Mount Huron. These are all mountains that I would kind of steer you towards for your first one. If you're going to go much kind of higher on the list than that, you're starting to get into some of those questions of exposure and distance and some of those things that you're just going to want to be wise on. So you're welcome to choose other mountains, but just know that those variables start changing the higher up the list you get. And it may not be what you really want to choose for your first go around. I'll be the first to admit that I did not choose wisely my first one. I made it, but I would not make that choice again for my first one. I chose Long's Peak because it's the closest and the kind of most famous one close to where I live. And like I say, we made it, but that is not a wise decision. And I would not coach anybody to do Long's Peak or even something similar to that for their first one. So what's the old parenting saying? Do as I say, not as I do. That's what I would coach you to do on this one. So I hope this is helpful. Please do your research. Please make a good choice. You can have an amazing experience and be successful at this. And as usual, I hope I get to see you at the top of whatever mountain you choose.